Remembers that Singapore society has grown more diverse and the public wants to have a greater say in policies. Over the past 50 years or so, this government has been concerned with the survival and success of this nation and the aspirations of our people in wanting a better future. Public officers, especially those working on public communications and outreach in the various ministries and statutory boards, have been integral in helping the government explain policies and responding to feedback. No society remains static. As our society becomes better educated and open to ideas and influences from near and far, there are bound to be different views, perceptions, and expectations. The ways in which the government departments operate have to evolve with the times, and indeed they have. Increasingly, we are seeing different pockets of society forming quickly to declare their interests and take positions around an issue or a cause. Government agencies therefore got to be better equipped to engage an increasingly diverse society of Singaporeans. We also have to take note of the high expectations of those who sometimes want to have their way and quickly on issues. And I'm sure members of the House have themselves noted the diversity of voices on the ground when you meet constituents and the challenges of representing conflicting viewpoints fairly. Even as some Singaporeans are increasingly articulate in expressing themselves and using various platforms like new media, there remain many others who are quiet by nature but whose dedication to their work, their role in bringing up families, and contributing to Singapore is no less important. They should never feel left out. We should be inclusive of as many views as possible and continue to engage them in ways that they feel comfortable, such as the elderly. The government is committed to making public engagement a cornerstone of policy making. We have enhanced our efforts to engage stakeholders in policy making, explaining policies, getting feedback, and tweaking policies to better benefit people from all walks of life. Last year, Madam, we embarked on a national conversation on the kind of home we would like to have in the future. Across governments, many similar conversations have been taking place, and Singaporeans have responded very positively. We have to continue along this vein, listen carefully, and consult widely before a decision has to be made at some point. Even as government expands on our public communication efforts, we are aware that there's room to do better. Where issues appear complex, we have to learn how to explain in bite-sized fashion, in appropriate ways for different audiences, such as the elderly, especially policies that have great impact on our people. Many policies have benefited from Singaporeans' inputs and ideas, and the government will continue to bring people together to co-create long-term policies for our collective future. At the same time, in any public engagement or policy-making process, we need to realize that there will be benefits, competing interests, and trade-offs. What may be of importance to our homegrown businessman may not appeal to a graduate fresh out of school or a retiree. Some people get cautious or defensive at first glance, but may later realize it is a good move when issues and trade-offs are discussed and explained. We also have to move towards not just engaging our stakeholders, but encouraging them to share ownership and run programs with our support. Several of our agencies are already moving in this direction, giving room for our philanthropists, community leaders, experts, and volunteers to play their role as active citizens. And to this end, we will continue to build skills and abilities within the public sector to better engage and involve stakeholders in policy making, in responding to ideas and feedback, and giving them space to take ownership. Beyond the intricate modeling and far-sighted data and analysis we might have for policy making, we will continue to build capabilities to better understand the various stakeholders and aspire to cater to the different needs. This will always be a work in progress to keep in step with changes in society. Public communication and engagement are critical in building and keeping trust as we go forth and progress further as a people, as a nation. And that is how we have come this far and will do more to go further. Madam, the Infocom, media and design sectors continue to show great promise in their own right, as well as their potential to transform society and the economy. Innovation has come about through successive waves of convergence. The first wave of convergence brought together the IT and telecommunication industry to give us the Infocom sector. This wave is almost complete. Later this year, new homes to be built will no longer need to be fitted with telephone ports, since a data port can serve both voice and data needs. The second wave of convergence is unifying data. This wave is allowing for the emergence of massive data sets from which businesses and government can get deep insights to help improve services. This is why we see data analytics as a promising growth area for the Infocom sector. The third wave of convergence is bringing together Infocom and media industries. It is presently disrupting traditional business models for content creation, but there's no doubt that it will eventually lead to new and more robust business models. We must ensure that our regulatory framework are able to keep pace, and Singapore is among several countries at the forefront of studying its impact. Around the corner, we see the possibilities for infocom flowing into autonomous machines. This will be especially relevant as the Singapore economy shifts gear in view of the slowing workforce growth. Madam, we estimate that the infocom, media and design sector grew by 6.5% in 2012. Singapore has also consistently ranked among the top 2 countries in the World Economic Forum's Global Information Technology Report since 2009. Madam, with your permission, may I display some slides on the LED screens? 2 videos will also be shown later.
Yes, please.
Madam, our plans for the infocom, media and design sectors are fourfold. Firstly, we want to improve our infocom and media infrastructure. Secondly, we want to ensure the sectors deliver enhanced quality of life for our people. Thirdly, we want the sectors to contribute to business competitiveness and a more productive economy. And finally, we want Singapore to be in a good position to seize future growth opportunities in infocom, design, and media. Mr. Zaki Muhammad and Ms. Penny Low have highlighted the importance of investing in infrastructure and technology that can improve Singaporeans' daily lives. Ms. Lee Li Lian also touched on the quality of service of QoS standards for our mobile services infrastructure. Madam, we will be improving our wireless infrastructure. The free wireless at SG network is popular with Singaporeans. More businesses have subscribed to wireless at SG for their own operation, such as cashless payments and facility surveillance. But the system is now over 6 years old. IDA will therefore enhance our national wireless infrastructure by expanding the capacity and the speed of wireless at SG. We will also simplify the login process. Instead of having to repeatedly enter one's login information, the improved wireless at SG will be able to recognize registered users through the SIM cards in their mobile devices. This will complement our mobile networks and allow subscribers to more seamlessly shift from the 3G and 4G networks to wireless at SG. We recognize that mobile services have become increasingly integral to consumers and businesses. In fact, Singapore is one of the few countries globally to impose quality of service or QoS standards for compliance. Over the past 2 years, IDA has enhanced the standards required of 3G mobile service operators. Mobile operators also face higher financial penalties for non-compliance. The standard for outdoor service coverage was raised to above 99% in April 2012. So the recent $10,000 financial penalty that IDA imposed on each mobile operator was for failing to comply with this enhanced standard. I understand the IDA had taken into consideration that it was the first time the operators failed to meet the new requirements, and in fact, by a relatively small margin. Therefore, the penalties levied were appropriate, not the maximum under the current standard, but still much higher than allowed for under the old standard. Madam, IDA will be holding a 4G spectrum auction in mid-2013, and this will give our mobile operators greater certainty over their spectrum holdings and allow them to expand their 4G offerings. We will encourage further deployment and adoption of new mobile capabilities that will bring more benefits to consumers, greater coverage and bandwidth. IDA will also soon revise the Code of Practice for Info Communication Facilities in Buildings, or COPIF, C-O-P-I-F, to ensure that building facilities have adequate space set aside to support the quicker deployment of mobile services. Our mobile payment system will see improvements. Since August 2012, consumers have been able to make contactless payments with their near-field communications or NFC-enabled phones at over 30,000 acceptance points. This includes convenience stores and most taxis. At least 7 additional NFC mobile payment and value-added services will be launched by 2014. IDA will be working with the public transport industry to assess the feasibility of adopting NFC payment, and the public can look forward to field trials and pilots later this year. All these initiatives spell more convenience and options for our consumers. Madam, it has been 50 years since Mr. Rajaratnam went on air to launch our television service. It was a momentous occasion for all our people. We have seen much progress over these 5 decades, including going color, adding more free-to-air channels. And it is fitting that this 50th year will herald another milestone in our broadcasting history. We are going digital. We are upgrading our broadcasting infrastructure and will begin our transition to digital TV by year end. Digital TV will enhance our viewing experience, at the same time Going digital will free up spectrum that can be reallocated for better and faster wireless services for public and businesses. Come this December, MediaCorp's 7 free-to-air channels will be broadcast in digital format and move to high definition in 2 phases. Channels 5 and 8, Surya and Vasantam, will first move to high definition. Channel U, Octo, and Channel News Asia will be broadcast in standard definition first, and then high definition in 2016. Viewers will be able to enjoy the high-quality images and surround sound from digital TV through existing pay TV set-top boxes or a separate receiver. Madam, we will ensure sufficient time for households to make the digital transition. MediaCorp will continue to broadcast analog signals for free-to-air channels for at least 2 years from the digital switch on in end 2013. MD will also introduce consumer labels for dealers to affix to compatible digital receivers. And this will allow our consumers to easily identify the equipment suitable for their needs. From April this year, consumers will be able to buy TVs with compatible integrated digital receivers that are affixed with MDA's consumer labels. Consumers can also choose to buy set-top boxes affixed with these labels to connect to the existing TVs as the boxes gradually become available. But we will not forget the needy households who may need assistance with the switchover. MDA is looking at ways to assist them. We expect to finalize and ready these plans by 2014. We recognize the important role that TV broadcast plays, and I would like to assure the House that MDA is working to ensure that all Singaporeans can benefit from our free-to-air digital programming. Through Infocom, Media and Design, we are improving Singaporeans' quality of life. Ms. Penny Low, Mr. David Ong, Dr. Chia Shi Lu, Mr. Inderjit Singh, Mr. Lau Tia Kang, and other members have shared their views about the important role that Infocom plays in this. The next generation nationwide broadband network is already allowing IDA and industry partners to explore projects such as home-based work. This can help Singaporeans better balance their work-life commitments and minimize travel during peak hours. Our economy will also benefit from the increased level of labor force participation. Businesses may also derive long-term cost savings in office space rental. Rasa Sayang Healthcare is a homegrown SME that will be launching a home-based work pilot project soon. The company provides home nursing services. Currently, their nurses pick up their scheduled jobs from the office before traveling to the patients' homes to do their work. They subsequently return to the office to file their patients' reports. With this pilot, Rasa Sayang's nurses will be equipped with computing devices and broadband connectivity to allow them to receive their schedules at home. They'll be able to start work from home and return home to file their reports. The reduced traveling and time saved will allow nurses to spend more time with patients and improve productivity. In addition, Rasa Sayang's customer service staff will be equipped with proprietary customer management and call routing solutions. And this allows their staff to work from home and continue serving their customers in a timely manner. Madam IDA will also call for proposals to establish smart work centers. Smart work centers are conducive alternative working spaces. They will be equipped with professional facilities and shared by employees of different companies. Employers looking to offer flexible work arrangements can arrange for the employees to work at a smart work center near home. IDA also currently working with the National Library Board to pilot smart work centers at selected libraries. At the same time, the Public Service will be piloting a similar concept at the Treasury Building and the new MND and NMOM buildings for use by public officers from participating public agencies. We will continue to commit resources to ensure that ICT benefits all and fosters a cohesive and inclusive society. Over the past 3 years, IDA's People Sector Program has reached out to over 460,000 people, and IDA has also equipped more than 100 people sector organizations with Infocom capabilities and to increase ICT literacy and competency of their clients. So for example, please pay attention on the screen. The Singapore Association for the Deaf has partnered with the People Sector Infocom Resource Center and are developing a Singapore Sign Language mobile app to meet the needs of our hearing impaired and promote our Singapore Sign Language. The video on the screen shows some of the signs that one can learn from the prototype app, such as durian and kalang. IDA will also continue to actively engage and promote ICT programs and initiatives among the elderly, the low-income households with school-going children, and people with disabilities. To date, the Digital Inclusion Program has assisted more than 14,600 low-income households with PCs and broadband service. It has trained more than 76,000 senior citizens and people with disabilities to use Infocom for digital lifestyle activities and work support. Volunteers play a key role in this effort as well. They are young at heart and sharp in the mind, just like the lady in the right of this picture, Madam Irene Lim. She's seen here helping another lady in one of our silver Infocom classes. 61-year-old Irene retired 7 years ago and has been pursuing her interest in photography and in computers. She attended courses on social networking and digital photo management, which were offered under the Silver Infocom curriculum. And in her words, I quote, "Being able to catch up with the latest technology trends, I feel young and active again." She puts to good use her IT skills in enhancing photographs and producing video collages of her travels. She's also an active Facebook user, a blogger, and as I said earlier, a volunteer IT tutor. Beyond improving work-life balance and social inclusion, we also recognize that the media industry can uplift, inspire, and entertain Singaporeans. Last year, Madam, was a very good year for film, but I want to specifically recognize the contributions of our TV sector. So, for example, a local production company, Very, won 2 gold medals at the prestigious New York festivals for their work on the Channel News Asia documentary, The End, beginning in 2012. Last year's Asian TV Awards also saw local company Scroll Studios win the Best 2D Animated Award with the Guess How Much I Love You program, while another local producer, the Moving Visuals, pick up an award for their work on the Biography Channel's social awareness program, Junkie Monastery. Ms. Silva Lim spoke about the local music scene. We are committed to grow our music industry in creating opportunities for music talent. MDA has various schemes to support our local music professionals at varying stages of their careers, and this includes the development of singles, production of albums and extended plays, marketing assistance, training and upskilling. And her suggestion for us to consider using local content or local music in government buildings will be considered seriously. Yet at the same time, the preservation of local identity and national identity is the purview of MCCY. We'll be in discussion with MCCY. But MDA has been working also with the local broadcasters and industry partners to increase their repertoire of local works for broadcast and to provide greater exposure to our local musicians. Several radio stations such as Class 95, Yes, 93.3 FM, RIA and Oli have programs to showcase local artists and music. In September last year, MDA and MediaCorp put out a joint call for proposals seeking theme songs for MediaCorp's TV drama. And this provides nationwide exposure to our local musicians and uncovers new talent. The winning compositions receive airplay on our free-to-air TV channels and radio. We ensured that the intellectual property rights of these songs stayed with their creators so that the composers could further benefit from it. MDA, Madam, will launch another call for proposal for theme song production soon. Selected applicants will be provided with a development assisting grant of up to $8,000 each. Madam, the government also recognizes the importance of royalty payments to sustain our music industry. An industry code of conduct was launched in June last year to improve the collection of royalty payments. And this has taken us another step in the right direction as we work to ensure that royalty payments reach their rightful owners. MD will continue to work with our broadcasters, Ministry of Law, Industry Association, and various stakeholders to support the growth of a vibrant ecosystem for local music. But we're happy to listen to any suggestions from Ms. Lim for this particular sector. Ms. Penny Low, Mr. Inderjit Singh, Mr. Sito Yipin, Mr. Arthur Fong, and Mr. Vikram Nair has asked about how we can increase business productivity and the measures we have taken to enhance our design sector. Allow me now to touch on these areas. An increasing number of companies have used design to gain an advantage for business competitiveness and growth. The Design Singapore Council provides schemes to incentivize local businesses to invest in design for innovation and productivity gains. Over the past 2 years, over 100 companies have been supported through assistance schemes such as the Design for Business Innovation Grant, or DBIG, and the Productivity and Innovation Grant, Credit, PIC, for investments in design. Atmosphere Air Conditioning and Engineering Private Limited is a local SME that has benefited from DBIG and PIC. Faced with difficulties expanding the business due to manpower constraints and logistical challenges, Atmosphere partnered with a design consultancy to transform the way their aircon technicians go about their servicing jobs. Instead of a 2-man service crew in vans, motorcycles outfitted with a specially designed storage box containing a redesigned servicing tools were introduced. Only one technician is now needed for smaller jobs. Clients are now served faster, productivity has doubled, operational costs have come down, and Atmosphere has eased its manpower constraint. New high-growth ICT developments such as data analytics can also improve business competitiveness and create value across sectors. IDA is encouraging greater adoption of data analytics among businesses. It has been working with 6 early adopters to develop business analytics shared services for the retail and wholesale sector. Such analytics services will allow businesses, such as Best Denki Singapore, to derive useful information from their customers' data to better understand customers' needs. The services will also help optimize inventory levels to meet forecasted demand. We expect these shared services to be rolled out progressively to early adopters starting middle of this year. Raising productivity is key to greater competitiveness. IDA has supported the efforts of more than 5,000 SMEs to raise business productivity through ICT solutions. IDA works closely with sector champions and industry associations to facilitate the development of collaborative ideas and innovative ICT solutions that can benefit the wider industry. With economies of scale, such solutions are more cost-effective to adopt than if developed separately by businesses on their own. So, for example, to increase service staff productivity in the food and beverage industry, IDA supported mobile ordering systems for restaurants to automate key operational processes. Diners of Ocean Spoon Dining now submit their orders via tablets and have their payment processed at their table. Ms. Jocelyn Cheng is the Managing Director of JR Foodstuff Industry, which owns Ocean Spoon Dining, and she shared that with e-menu and payment at the table, other than being able to achieve faster table turnaround, we foresee that we'll be able to expand our operations without the need to increase service staff at the same rate. Furthermore, to help SMEs speed up their ICT adoption, IDA has also pre-qualified over 160 ready-to-use ICT package solutions under the iSprint scheme. SMEs can purchase and implement these solutions right away and subsequently claim from the iSprint grant. We will also continue to support initiatives that raise labor productivity to help our companies be better equipped to face challenges that arise from the tightening of local manpower. IDA will review existing Infocom manpower initiatives to develop the necessary skill sets for local Infocom professionals in anticipation of changing job profiles and to attract greater talent into ICT. So, for example, IDA has been working with the Singapore Workforce Development Agency, or WDA, to organize Infocom productivity masterclasses to help local ICT businesses reshape their business models and improve productivity. These masterclasses target the top management executives and cover topics such as product management, business strategy, and user experience design. Over 100 Infocom professionals have benefited from this program in the past 9 months. We will continue to provide our local Infocom companies with more such masterclasses through our Infocom Continuing Education and Training Center. Madam, this year, the Design Thinking and Innovation Academy, or DTIA, will also partner with WDA to expand the availability of design thinking training. The DTIA has been helping both the private and public sectors to develop design-driven innovation capabilities and to adopt a user-centric approach in creating innovative products and services. Up to $2.5 million has been set aside over the next 3 years for design thinking training. This will allow DTIA participants to receive up to 70% WDA co-funding when they apply for relevant workforce skills qualification courses. We're also making it easier for our designers and other vital players in the design value chain to network, test, and exchange ideas and co-create new products and services. The National Design Center, NDC, will be open later this year. Members are invited. Located at the former site of St. Anthony's Convent and now a designated conserved building, the NDC will serve as a keynote in Singapore's design ecosystem. It will house a prototyping laboratory for developing design concepts into prototypes, as well as design galleries to showcase design works. The Design Singapore Council will also relocate there by the last quarter of 2013 to make it more convenient for both our businesses and designers to seek the Council's expertise and assistance. Madam, I spoke earlier about the changes being brought about by media convergence. Both Mr. Zaki Muhammad and Mr. Ibrahim King have also asked about this. In March last year, we appointed a media convergence review panel, chaired by Mr. Koh Boon Hui, and comprising experts from the private and public sectors to study these issues. The panel submitted their report in November 2012 and made recommendations to address 4 important areas: content regulation, encouraging local content, copyright challenges, and licensing framework. The government, Madam, broadly agrees with the panel's recommendations. I will elaborate now on our approach to the recommendations on the economic interests of the sector and take up the content regulation and public service broadcast aspects in my response to later cuts. My colleague, Senior Parliamentary Sim Ann, will address Mr. Ibrahim King's comment on the media literacy in her response later. Madam, local content plays a vital role in strengthening Singapore's cultural identity and community bonds. There is merit in the panel's recommendation to incentivize local content creation by requiring nationwide broadcasters, including pay TV operators, to invest part of their content expenditure on local content. We will consult stakeholders on the design and the implementation of the local content obligation. We will explore the possibility of providing incentives to encourage more local content development. We also study how best to ensure that local content is made prominently available on the landing pages of TVs with integrated internet connectivity or connected TV. To address online copyright challenges and digital piracy, we agree with the panel's recommendations of a 3-pronged approach comprising public education, the promotion of legitimate digital content sources, and potential regulatory measures. We will continue to support the efforts of MinLaw and IPOS to strengthen existing collaborative efforts with the industry on online copyright issues. The government will also work on the panel's recommendation and look into providing further clarity and certainty for the licensing of all broadcast and online content services, something raised by Mr. Zaki, including the definition of licensable audiovisual services. We agree with the need to align requirements imposed on both local and overseas broadcasters targeting the Singapore market. We look forward to working with our stakeholders to follow up on the report's recommendation. The target, Madam, is to conduct the necessary consultations this year with a view to implementing the recommendations where feasible from 2014 onwards. Next, Madam, we recognize that our industry development plans should anticipate the eventual convergence of the Infocom and media sectors. Convergence will extend beyond just media platforms as Infocom technologies increasingly become more deeply embedded with media. For example, data analytics has been increasingly used to better understand the viewers of media content. Pay TV operators in the UK are already looking to launch TV advertisement services that target specific homes based on viewing habits, household composition, and geographic location. The targeted advertising that we are most familiar with on the internet is looking to expand to the TV sets in our homes. And here I mentioned the example of Amazon, where they keep track of what the books you've been buying and they try and advertise for you the books that you should be buying. Convergence has and will continue to create opportunities and challenges both within the Infocom and media sector and between it and other economic sectors. Our businesses can exploit new opportunities in a converged environment to move up the value chain and create new products and services to meet rapidly changing consumer demands. As the distinction between the traditional structures of Infocom and media undergo this paradigm shift, we need to look at the future master plans for the ICM sectors in a more holistic and integrated manner. Hence, Madam, I intend to commission a joint Infocom and media master plan, or ICM master plan, to synergize their master planning efforts for the future. This joint master plan will be led by a steering committee that comprises both public and private sector representation. We expect extensive industry consultations for the master plan to begin later this year. The joint master plan is a significant effort, and this will take some time. However, we want to start early to give ourselves time to carefully study both the opportunities and the gaps brought about by ICM convergence. This will allow us to streamline our ICM policy frameworks and industry development efforts. By 2015, we hope to have a master plan that will give Singapore a competitive advantage and propel Singapore's digital economy ahead to the next stage of development. Another important investment is strengthening our public service broadcast, or PSB. Like libraries, PSB programs are also funded by our government, and indeed we see both as important public goods. They both help foster a knowledgeable people who are appreciative of our past, informed of the present, and prepared for the future. Madam Speaker, with your permission, may I display a few slides on the LD screens? I will also play a video later on.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam. The slide shows a few examples of PSB programs that have done well. Last year, some 4.4 million viewers tuned in to PSB programs on free-to-air TV. PSB programs offered online on sinmsm.com had 5 million views. So I thank Mr. Baey Yam Keng for affirming the importance of PSB and its role in building a Singaporean identity and fostering social cohesion. The government recognizes the value of public service broadcasting to Singaporeans. Excuse me. We have thus continued to support bringing PSB programs to our people, even after we stopped collecting radio and TV license fees in 2011. We are also taking steps to enhance the quality of locally produced PSB programs, a point raised by Mr. Baey. This was recommended by the PSB review panel, whose members were drawn from the community, the media industry, and the academia. The government accepted the panel's recommendations last year, and we boosted support for PSB with a 35% increase in funding, with $630 million spread over the next 5 years. With the increased budget, the MDA has begun to roll out the panel's recommendations. It worked with the MediaCorp to develop and test pilot episodes for PSB programs. This pilot testing enabled program concepts to be refined through a feedback process, and we hope that this will result in more PSB programs that better resonate with viewers such as Mr. Baey. MediaCorp piloted 3 episodes in October last year. Audiences in the studio and online voted for their favorite program concepts, and they also gave useful ideas on how to improve the programs. After pilot testing and taking in the viewers' feedback, MediaCorp will be producing 3 full drama series later this year. Mata Mata on Channel 5, Di Luar Garisan Out of Line on Surya, and Veti Varai or Estate on Vasantam. MediaCorp will continue engaging viewers on more pilot episodes. Besides engaging viewers for feedback, we need innovative ideas to keep good PSB programs coming through the pipeline. MDA launched the PSB Contestable Funds Scheme in July last year. And this opens up the PSB funds both to FTA and non-FTA broadcasters. We want to encourage a diversity of ideas from a variety of players. MediaCorp has been awarded funding under this scheme, and we hope to see more non-FTA broadcasters participate. The PSB Contestable Fund Scheme also encourages broadcasters to deliver content on multiple platforms, thereby spurring them to be more innovative. It will take time, but we are moving towards a future where PSB content can be viewed beyond the FTA TV, on pay TV, on the internet, and our mobile devices. So it is quality PSB content on the go, anywhere and anytime. Parts of that exciting future are already here. In February this year, MediaCorp launched Toggle, its over-the-top or OTT service. Toggle includes locally produced programs from MediaCorp's free-to-air TV channels. Viewers can access them on demand for free via the internet and selected mobile devices. Major national events will also be streamed live. In fact, the recent 2013 budget speech was streamed live on Toggle. Come August this year, Singaporeans will be able to enjoy watching the National Parade on their mobile devices. MediaCorp also plans to extend free local content over Toggle to overseas Singaporeans in the middle of this year. The increased PSB funding will also benefit the production sector as we reach out to a diversity of players to produce better quality PSB programs. This will help attract and retain talent, thereby sustaining and strengthening our local broadcasting and production ecosystem. However, Madam, we recognize that the TV industry is still dependent on advertising revenue. We thus see more entertainment programs on TV as they are more popular with our viewers. But TV can do more than entertain. I believe it can play a key role in fostering a knowledgeable people through a strong lineup of quality, informative, and educational programs. Hence, the government will invest another $182 million over the next 4 years, dedicated to supporting more locally produced documentaries and current affairs programs. We currently have a few good informative programs on TV. So, for example, we have Channel 8's Tuesday Report and the Channel News Asia's Insight. Singaporeans can look forward to more of such programs as we ramp up production in our 4 official languages, English, Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil. These programs will cover a wide variety of issues such as our culture and heritage, the the environment, and public housing. One example of the type of quality local documentaries that we want to see more is History from the Hills. The video shows a trailer of the program which was aired on MediaCorp's Octo earlier this year. The program recounted the history of our nation through stories revolving around the Bukit Brown Cemetery, starting from the first grave dated 1833 to the closure of the cemetery in 1973. It sheds light on our past and brought to life important pieces of Singapore's heritage. Madam, with the additional funding, we hope to bring more of such insightful and interesting programs to our people, not only to inform and educate, but also to inspire our people to pursue and fulfill their dreams. Madam, I will now address other issues that Mr. Zaki Mohamad has raised, which relate to the government's approach towards content regulation. Our objective in classifying content is to enable consumers to make informed choices. Through classification, we get to enjoy a vibrant media scene with a wide variety of choices to suit our needs when we turn on the television or go to the movies. At the same time, we ensure that our young grow up in a safe media environment, with parents helping to guide them in making the right choices. Classification is not the job of MDA alone. We have to consider the views and the needs of our society. So MDA takes a co-regulatory approach. It actively consults the industry and the community in developing content guidelines. This process gives MDA invaluable insight into our people's diverse views and sentiments, even as we come together to shape our common space. Industry co-regulation is not new. It has long been the practice with the broadcast and print industries, where the industry takes responsibility for ensuring that the content adheres to MDA's content guidelines. I would like to take this opportunity to affirm the importance of our partnership with the industry and the community. Building on that, I'm pleased to announce that we will be introducing co-regulation for videos and the arts. She's smiling. First, under a new video co-regulatory scheme, video distributors will be able to self-classify videos up to PG-13 rating. This will facilitate industry growth. It will also benefit both video distributors and consumers, as new video titles will be made available faster. As more than 70% of the video titles the MDA currently classifies as PG-13 and below, the potential benefits are substantial. At the same time, I would like to assure Mr. Zaki and honourable members that safeguards are in place to ensure that these self-classified videos will be in line with the existing content guidelines. Only qualified content assessors will be allowed to self-classify content. And I'm pleased to say the MDA has worked with the Workforce Development Agency and the Singapore Media Academy to train content assessors. So far, 50 content assessors have been trained, and this will facilitate the rollout of the scheme when the Films Act is amended to cater for industry self-classification. Secondly, we will also introduce co-regulation for the arts. Currently, all arts performances are classified and licensed by MDA on a per-event basis. But for a majority of arts performances, this will no longer be the case with the introduction of the two-tier term licensing scheme. I'm pleased to announce that all arts groups will be invited to join the Tier 1 term licensing. Tier 1 groups will be able to self-classify performances that fall under a general rating and which do not have racial, religious, or political content. This will cover the majority of arts performances in Singapore, up to 90% if we go by the performance classified in 2012. Arts groups will be able to stage as many performances as they want during the one-year license period, and the license will be renewable. Furthermore, they need not pay licensing fees to MDA for self-classified performances. Even as we empower arts groups to self-classify content, term licenses need to exercise this function responsibly. Arts groups need to provide accurate classification ratings and consumer advisories so that the public can make informed choices. Given that classification is an important responsibility that needs to be exercised with care, all Tier 1 term licensees will need to furnish a $1,000 performance bond signed by a guarantor. There is no need to make an upfront cash payment. Going one step further, Tier 2 term licensees will be able to self-classify all performances up to the restricted or R18 rating, the highest rating for arts performances and events. Because they can self-classify performances that deal with potentially sensitive issues such as race or religion, Tier 2 arts groups need to have an established track record over 3 or more years in order to qualify. This involves adhering to license conditions, being consistent in providing the necessary consumer advice in publicity materials, and being responsive to community feedback about potentially controversial content. The qualifying criteria for Tier 2 term license that I've just outlined are not meant to discourage any arts group from participating in the scheme. The criteria are meant to set a minimal benchmark for self-classification to be done in a responsible manner. Madam, we target to amend the Films Act and the Public Entertainment Meetings Act early next year to provide for video self-classification and arts term licensing. Besides extending co-regulation, we will also be reviewing how we regulate content across the different forms of media. As I mentioned in my earlier speech, the Media Convergence Review Panel had recommended the harmonization of content regulation. The panel envisaged that the same piece of content would be labeled with the same age rating, whether it is delivered through the TV broadcast and film or through the internet. I agree with the intent to make our classification system more intuitive and helpful to consumers. We will take steps to harmonize content regulation across all platforms. Madam, I would like to address one more question from Mr. Bayam King. He asked if more local news articles from Straits Times and Daniel Chapao could be provided for free online. I'm afraid this is a commercial decision for the newspapers to make. Madam, to sum up, I would like to reiterate that the government is committed to fostering a knowledgeable society. We will extend access to library resources, equip our people to harness the power of information, and provide quality PSB programs that inform, connect, and inspire our people. In all our efforts, we are actively engaging and collaborating with industry and community partners, as I believe that collectively we can provide better quality public goods that meet the diverse needs of our people. Another point that was raised by Ms. Low on leveraging the potential of the NGN. The NGN that is currently being deployed will provide nationwide ultra-high speed broadband access up to 1 gig to all physical addresses, including homes, schools, government buildings, businesses, and hospitals. With this network, households and businesses will be able to access more information with rich content at a faster speed. More than 350 schools will tap into our network, which will benefit teaching, learning, and assessment applications that may be bandwidth intensive. Consumers are also enjoying lower broadband connectivity prices than in 2009 when the NGNBN was launched. So with this, Madam Chairman, we'll move forward. Through co-regulation with video distributors and arts groups, we hope to encourage a more vibrant media and arts scene that will bring more choices and quality content.